Hello, everybody. It's Mary Sheila, and I have my friend and colleague Christy Ross of Planted Places. Hey.
Hi, hello. I'm sitting
Okay.
here out on beautiful, happy spring, Mary Sheila.
Oh my gosh. It's like, I know I'm in my tank top. It's not freezing cold. I don't have a fire going like I did maybe like 3 days ago.
I know I was going to say like a day ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I'm just
Yeah.
going to say what happened. I'm just going to be honest. So
Yeah.
you
Let's do it.
saw my email, my spring email, where I literally like felt this and heard somebody else say the need to weed and eat more vegetables.
Yes.
So you have behind you those incredible
Look at
growing
this.
greens.
Oh my gosh.
That is Planted Places, like with the queen
Oh,
goddess standing right in front of the beautiful plants. And those are your spring greens from your wall.
these are all, but it's so funny because it is true. Your subject line, I was like, okay, that's so funny because I was just weeding. Right? I saw
Yeah.
that. I was like, okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But I come out and this is our planted wall and it's growing all the greens and the herbs. But this time of year, because of course, we're leaving winter, going into spring, it's all of those awesome, the mustards, the things you talked about in your email. So I've got my vivid bok choy. I don't even know if it's showing off the beautiful purples, but it's like the
Oh,
vivid bok choy,
incredible.
the red Russian kale. There's more of that. I've got Mizuna down here. I don't even know if you can see it, frilly. I've just got so many. And my other wall over there is just mustard green heaven.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, and I got bok choy down below. So I'm thinking to myself when I saw yours, I'm like, oh, I love that she's talking about this because I have a lot to harvest, you know? But
Amazing.
yeah, and I think what I really wanted to do, and this is what we were talking about, and I reached out to you and I was like, Mary Sheila, you are talking about such important information about these greens and what they do for your nutrition and your digestive system. And I thought, my goodness, I would love to talk with you and have you talk a little bit about that because people oftentimes don't know, okay, I'm growing, so I don't know what to do with it, but also why it's so important. So, yeah, educate us.
Yes, I'd love
Yes.
to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it is springtime. Oh, hallelujah. And it
Yeah.
is everything outside is green. And so we want to mimic that and put those greens in our body. Greens of springtime tend to be more pungent and bitter. And again, it's sort of like it's cold and and
Mhm.
they like those pungent bitter greens, like in the summertime, they'll bolt. So this is a great time to eat
Yes.
them. And your little wall is like the perfect example of that. Um,
Mhm.
we're coming off of more heavier season of winter where we might have been eating more heartier meals. And you might just naturally feel like, gosh, I don't want to eat that heavy stew. I want to have like maybe more greens and just something a
Mhm.
little bit lighter. And that
Mhm.
is your innate knowledge of the body, your intuition, your guide of just what does the liver gallbladder need, which is the in time for spring, and how can we get that bile to flow and like sort of slough off any excess toxins, any excess
Mhm.
cholesterol from the richer foods, right? And just clear it out for springtime. So bitter
Yeah.
by its very nature does that. It kind of helps to move things along in the body but also really stimulates digestion. So bitter in
Yeah.
nature is sort of toxic. Like if poisonous plants are very bitter.
Yeah.
Antimicrobials are very bitter. Antibiotics are very bitter. But a
Mhm.
little bit of bitter, actually, the body's like, whoa, what is that? And we release digestive juices and it helps and supports digestion. It gets our
Mhm.
bile, like, excreting from the gallbladder. It gets all of our juices going. And that is going to enhance digestion and also kind of help us slough things off. In fact, I really learned about this once when I read something years ago in a Weston A. Price magazine.
Mhm.
And what the author was talking about is that, again, bitter in nature is more toxic. And, when women are pregnant, right, a lot of times
Yeah.
we think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a baby. I want to eat so well. And all of a sudden we're like, that bitter, like it makes, we're sort
Yeah.
of like,
Yeah,
you
you're
have this
sensitive.
aversion, you feel
Yeah.
nauseous. You're just like, I just want white rice and white bread. But that is like, again, because in nature it can be poisonous. It's like our body's self-defense to say, keep it out. I am protecting and doing everything I can to grow this baby. So,
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
if you're,
Yeah.
most people probably watching this, there might be a handful that are pregnant, woohoo. If you can tolerate them, great. But if
Right.
you can't, just like, eating the bitter greens are going to support you. And it's not about eating, like just a huge plate of greens. It's about incorporating them into your meals with your protein and, other
Right.
things, right?
Yeah, no, and I think what's you were just saying that because right, some people don't like that bitter, but I love how you said it's that creating the digestive juices to, moving into your body, but it's like if you can mix them with other greens, it actually helps accent the taste of that salad. I mean, I do that. I notice that all the time. I will grab a few leaves of the mustard green and I just put it in with the romaine and the butterhead that I'm growing, and it just gives it a nice little punch, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. It's sort of
So
like I mean, I personally grew up on like iceberg lettuce, and it's
oh,
like,
me too, me too. Yeah.
And
No,
so
I
you
know.
get to add all these flavors. Yeah.
Right, exactly, and it's funny, it was only just recently when I started growing the food on the wall that I realized because I just started realizing all these other varieties, right? And, that you actually really don't see those in the grocery stores, but you also don't even really see them at the farmers markets, and you get to grow them, right? And
Right.
so which the planted places, so it's kinda
Yeah.
neat, so but then a lot of times you don't know what to do with them, which is why I think our friendship, our business partnership is so important, right? Because then you're helping
Totally.
us figure it out. Yeah, yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
I know too that you saw that I was going
yes.
to be hosting a virtual cooking class where, we're really going to highlight some good vegetables. And so I'm wanting to take people into the kitchen and have a live virtual cooking class with them to really show them how to make food, and set themselves up for success. Because that's really the name of the game. Like, I can have all the intentions in the world, but if I don't have a plan,
Yeah.
right, then
Yep,
like,
right.
and I get hungry at 4 o'clock, like, what are my chances that I'm gonna, eat something good if I, didn't set myself up for breakfast, for lunch, for an afternoon snack? So setting ourselves up for success is the name of the game. So
And that's the
to
feat
do
that's what you're gonna focus on, right, in your class.
exactly,
Yes,
exactly. We're
yes.
gonna make beautiful food, and so I know. So what I'm gonna do is
Yeah.
just I'm gonna extend the discount that I have um, for this class a little bit longer, which is $20 off. It's a great investment. It's not even that
Absolutely.
much to begin with. And then I know you have a discount for my community too, to just really like,
Oh,
let's
let's start
mix it up.
growing. Let's get the greens into our garden. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now we've got I've got a spring sale for 15% off, and that's everything. I mean, and planted wall included, but we're growing all of the greens we're talking about. And the herbs are coming out too right now. So, and then very soon, next month, fruiting plants, your tomatoes, your pepper, all the things that are going to grow during the summer, but you got to plant them now. So there's a lot, and everything's certified organic. So that's really important. Same thing with our soil. I mean, that's one thing people, when they look at this, they think, oh, you're growing hydroponically. It's like, no, 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 we're growing in nutrient rich soil, organic soil. So it's got all the wonderful things, organic materials that soil web needs to really put the nutrition into the leaves. And that's where the taste comes from. So yeah, so this is great. So we're going to have $20 off my customers for your class. And I
20% or $20?
20 well, I'm talking about your class. You
Oh,
said
yes, yes,
$20
yes.
off.
Sorry, sorry,
Yes,
sorry.
yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then 15% off mine right now. And I think we should do something fun and special for your participants in your class, which we'll figure out. We always do. But for sure, come on over to my site and
Which
look at
I'll
that.
link below, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and what I love, because I've taken your classes before, I love the engagement because even, it's online, but we're there asking you questions. It's like you're in our kitchen with us. It's so wonderful. And then you throw little tips in there about the nutrition while we're cooking, which is so, so amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
excited for
really
that.
fun, and
Yeah.
people are always amazed at everything that they can make in this, like, 2-hour time, and most people, and myself included, do a whole little clean out in the kitchen, so that always feels good,
Yes.
cleaning, and then, we do sit down at the end and eat together, and I answer more questions and talk a little bit more just about some of the topics that we have discussed in the class, and that's really helpful and just nice, and yeah,
Oh,
and then at
yeah.
the end of the
Yeah.
class, everybody just has, like, a stocked up, bunch of stuff that they made, and then for some people that becomes like a favorite. I talk to people like, "Oh yeah, I still make that thing like every week or every couple weeks or whatever," because
Yeah. You
and
wanna
that
build yeah, you
yeah,
wanna build on your list of staples that you have, especially if it's helping you kinda get organized.
yeah,
I mean, I just there's nothing worse than the end of the day and the kids are there like, "Hey, what are we eating, mom?" You're like, "Ah," and you want something healthy, you want it ready to go. So, yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah,
So
well,
good.
good. Well, let me see you
Yeah.
take a bite of that green ball behind you.
Which one should I do? I know, I was like, I've got so much. Okay, this truly is my favorite. This is the Vivid Bok Choy, and it literally
I've never
tastes
seen bok
you
choy
have
look that
yeah,
color.
this
That
is
is
called
beautiful.
Vivid Bok Choy or
Mm,
Pak Choy, and it's purple. This is kind of a younger leaf, but it's like it tastes like meat. I kid you not. It's
I
so
understand what
rich.
you mean, like, some greens are, like, meaty, and I
Mm,
love that. Yeah.
it's amazing. And like the arugula that I well, and like the spinach. Okay.
Spinach
My
is often something I consider meaty, kinda. Yeah.
Exactly, and it tastes so different than when I buy it or I get a spinach salad at a restaurant. It's like it's not even the same. Ah,
Yeah, and to eat it fresh like that and just to be like, it's a living wall,
mhm,
to
it's
harvest it,
amazing.
put it in your house, and eat it within a few minutes, right?
Exactly, just graze off of it. Everything is edible, so
And then
including the
I
little,
yeah,
beautiful flowers. Yeah,
amazing. And I would
yeah,
say too, another benefit, like I noticed because 'cause I'm a gardener, is if let's say it did stay hot and everything was kind of starting to bolt a little, and you just did a big harvest of everything, and put it in your fridge, you
yeah.
call and what is let's say because every once in a while I'm like, "Oh, I forgot I harvested that," and it's like 2 weeks later and it's still perfect.
It's
Because
still
I think
fresh.
we get things
Yes,
that are so much longer shelf
yes,
in the stores,
yes.
trucks or whatever.
It's true, it's still crispy. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what's crazy, and, like, of course, we will show people how like, you wanna clean them off, and then the way you store them helps, but it's amazing, and then, of course, yeah, you compare that to buying it at the grocery store, and within a week, it smells, and it's, wilting, and it's like,
yeah.
"Ooh, I don't wanna eat that." Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, exactly, and you
yeah,
get to just pick this fresh or harvest it, or even if you're gonna go on a trip, you can just do a massive harvest and
massive
take it
harvest,
with
yeah,
you or
which
put it
is
in the
what I
fridge when
do.
you get home.
I
Yeah, I know, I know.
I do,
Take your
yeah.
good knife, take your good
Right,
greens, your
yeah.
cooler, and, like, hit the road.
Yeah, especially if you're going to, like, an Airbnb somewhere, you're like, "No problem, there, I can just put it in the refrigerator there, I've got it all ready to go." Yeah,
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 so
yeah.
very good.
Well,
Well,
awesome,
excellent.
Christy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so
thanks for
So
jumping
my
on.
class is coming up and that and in if you're watching this way long, you can still grab the class and you can still grab the discount. And you
Absolutely.
can also check out Christy's site and I'm sure that that discount will be good for a bit and then hey, we'll play
Yeah,
that way.
right, you and I always jump on and do these kinds of things, so who knows what comes in the future, but come down because it is spring and this is the time, right? So, yeah.
Totally. Awesome.
Alright, so
Thank you,
good. Good
Christy.
seeing
Thanks
you.
everybody for watching.
Bye-bye.